Hey, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, Supreme Medium Diviner. As promised, I am here today to give you the step-by-step guide on how to access your past life. Y'all know I've been talking a lot, mainly this year, about the soul, the spirit, what needs to be done so you can make it in the afterlife, to be happy, all that good stuff. But I want to focus now on how to conquer here in the present in life right now, so you can also be okay in the afterlife and also accomplish the goals that you set to do when you came here. So this is what this is going to be about: accessing your past life, giving you a step-by-step guide in how to do that so you can enjoy the present. Okay. But before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can be notified when I drop a video. And if you feel compelled, please like, comment, and share this video. Also, beware of scammers. I do not have WhatsApp. You do have to go to my website to book my service. There is a clickable link in my bio to get to my website. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So I have been doing a lot of research on the soul, and I have been using myself as a guinea pig. Okay. Why? Because I can, and I got to experience the things so I can know what to tell y'all. Right. So everything that I'm telling you, I have been through. Okay. So why is it important to unlock your past life? It's important to do so because the soul depends on it. In the research that I have done, in order to get all the information that you need about your soul, you have to unlock your past life. And the reason because of that is that the soul holds a lot about you. It holds karmic things, it holds contracts, it holds your destiny, your purpose, all those things, right, that you need to be successful in this present life. So you got to look back at the past. Why do you have to go back to the past? You have to go back to the past because the thing that we look at the most in this present life is found there. It's the past is found there, and that's your natal chart. So I'm not into astrology as far as doing it for other people, but I am into my own astrology chart, and that's how I came across this, by doing my research. So it has driven me to be more informed about astrology. Now, astronomy, I'm into, but astrology was not my suit, was not my calling. Okay. But I think that is, for me to use it right now when I'm dealing with the soul. Okay. So your natal chart, your astrology chart, it has all the things you need to know about your past life. It is your cheat code, okay, to this life. So your natal chart contains information. It is the map from your past life. Why is that? So what I found in my research, that's all we got to go on, right? Because we don't know how it's going to unfold here. We don't know if we're going to get our destiny. We don't know if we're going to find out our karma. We don't know if we're going to find out our soul contracts. So your natal chart is only as good as your last life, your past life, okay? And so you have to use it as your guide to unlock and learn what's here for you in the present, all right? So I'm going to give you a step-by-step. So the first thing is, if you're in any type of religion, especially Christianity, if you have done any ritual that involved giving away your soul, that's the first thing. You got to retrieve your soul, okay? Then after you retrieve your soul and you do the work that's entailed with after doing that, you're going to get to the next step, and that's a soul renewal, which you use the moon for, a full moon. That's a full moon ritual that I do for people to renew their soul. What does renewing the soul means? It means that you're making sure that there's no opposition anymore, that anything that you come up against is only you, like you would be the only one standing in your way. So we don't need the nuisance of things that don't belong in our way. Okay. So I'm not going to go in too deep about the soul retrieval and the soul renewal, because I've went in detail about those two things and told you what needs to be done. I'm going to put the link to my live and my videos that talk about that, so you can go back. If this is your first time here, you can go back and look at those videos and get the information on that. I really want to focus this video on the steps in regaining your past life. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit of my experience so y'all can understand how this has been going, okay? So I have been looking into my past life, I would have to say now, probably for about 3 years, okay? Off and on. And when I first started doing it, I was using divination. I was giving myself readings, and I would find out information. Y'all hear my clock, don't mind that. But I would find out information about myself, but it wasn't like concrete information. Like, it was giving me like bits and pieces. Like, for instance, like, I've known forever that I've been around the 6th ward and the 7th ward of New Orleans, right? I've known that since I started that. Like, that was like off top, right? I knew that I had a connection with Marie Laveau. That was like off top. It wasn't until I started messing with the solar system that I started getting concrete information. But before we get into that, I want to go back to some of the steps, okay? I want to mention something to you. It is very important that after you retrieve your soul, if you were a person that was in religion, that you start the ancestor worship, because the ancestor worship guides you through everything. Y'all know I'm very heavy on the ancestor worship, and the reason being is because you need to have some type of indication of where you come from. You need to have some type of indication of what resonates with you. Now, just because we're not doing ancestor worship doesn't mean something doesn't resonate with us, but what I teach everybody in my class is that it takes the guesswork out of it, okay? It confirms what you feel. It confirms what resonates with you, and it leads you to that so you find out your spiritual lineage, okay? That's the main goal, to find out your spiritual lineage and embody it. When you know where you come from, when it's your ancestors and you finding out your spiritual lineage, this gives you your beginning where you want to look into your past life, okay? So with mine, it was my strong connection with New Orleans, Louisiana, period, and my strong connection with Marie Laveau. So that's who I started with, and that's what gave me the most information that I needed to know, was by doing that. So it's very important that the steps that I'm giving you, that you follow that. Now, mind you, this is not something that happens overnight. So if you're looking for quick answers and you're impatient, then you're going to be very disappointed, okay? Because like I said, I've been doing mine for like 3 years, researching it and everything like that, okay? So I had to put that in there because people are going to ask, well, how do I know where to look, or how do I know where to start? If you're doing ancestral worship, you will have the answer. You will know what resonates with you. And so to give you me an example, it was New Orleans, Marie Laveau. And it was Marie Laveau that I reached out to on my Ouija board, and she gave me all the information about the 6th ward. So a little bit further, let's go down the line. So I looked into all that. I was so happy about it. So I kind of like left it alone for like a little while and stuff like that. 2024, when we had that total solar eclipse, I said, I want to go to the crossroads, okay? And I wanted, whoever showed up, but I really wanted Marie Laveau to show up for me at the crossroads. So I did go in 2024 in the total eclipse. That was back in April of last year. I told people, I gave a lot of people a lot of information about that. And I said, when you go to the crossroads and whoever shows up for you, it should be really quick. Like, you should know that they showed up for you like within the day, right? So I did that. The next night, Marie Laveau came to me in my astral travel, and she took me around the whole 6th ward, okay? So this is so crazy because when I tell you more of my story, it's going to match up some more. So she took me around the whole 6th ward. We were talking. I actually didn't want to go. I was having a good time reminiscing. She was just showing me around. And it was like the place, I didn't know where the place was. I could only describe it to people when I saw it, because it was like no structures there. But when I described it to people, they said it was the Iberville projects. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on it, but y'all can correct me. I don't mind. I don't have my notes in front of me, but the Iberville projects, right? And they were telling me that's what it sounded like where I was. So I'm like, okay. So Marie Laveau, again, after the crossroads, she confirmed some things with me. So that made me like really want to dig into it deeper. So let's go back to the steps. So I'm kind of going back and forth here. Just bear with me. Another thing that you got to be able to do is you have to be able to control and recognize your astral travel. Okay. You got to be able to focus on those visions. Okay. I do have a workshop coming up in October with my astral travel workshop to show you how to do it. Okay. So I'm not going to go into detail about that either, but that is something that you have to work on. Now, before anybody says, oh, I don't astral. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. People always say, I used to. You still do. Okay. You're just not remembering it. If you are alive and whenever you lay down and go to sleep, your body is astral traveling. Okay. Why is it important that you must be able to control and know and be aware of your astral travel? Because that's how you're going to see. You're going to go there. Okay. In order to understand your past life, you can't be scared to go back to it. All right. You got to keep that in mind. That's the only way that you're going to figure out the piece of the puzzle. So remember, I told y'all I was doing divination before. I was giving myself readings, but I wasn't going to the place. Okay. It wasn't until I did my crossroads at the total solar eclipse where I could kind of like narrow down a place. Okay. So we got soul retrieval, if you are baptized, soul renewal, soul retrieval, ancestral worship, then soul renewal. Then you got to be good at your astral travel, okay? So that's about 3 or 4 things. That's a must in order to do this. So why also do you have to be like aware of your astral travels and have things with your soul? For one, because you need your soul back and it's yours and you need to be in tune with it. Second, you have to be able to get in touch with that soul and you have to take the steps necessary to do that. So I told you guys that the soul is like the heart, but the soul is like reached at different levels. The heart, and it's above your crown. If the things that I told you, if you're not able to do those things and you have not got in touch with this is where the spirit comes in. You got to get in touch with the spirit to get to the soul. If you have not got in touch with your spirit and unlocked a lot of things in you and been doing the work, then that means that you have not been able to come out of your human self and get to your spiritual self outside of your human self. And that's going to be above your crown. You have your crown chakra. Then you have some layers above that crown chakra, and you got to come above that. How do you know that you came above that? When you meditate and stuff like that, you'll start seeing the color like gold or like an orangey color. Okay. But mostly gold or maybe like a goldish yellow. That's when you come out of that human side and you're working all on spiritual. You got to work with the human side at this point, okay? You got to work to have balance at this point, okay? So in order to get there, you have to do all this work ahead of time, right? So you can't just wake up and be like, oh, I want to see about my past life. It's not going to make sense to you. You're not going to have that visual. You're not going to be able to put things together, okay? So this is why it's important that you do not skip none of these parts because this is where you have to be. So remember, you have to be doing the work so you can come out of your human self and be above the crown chakra. That means that you have unlocked the soul. You have full access to know everything about your soul, which is going to be karmic things. It's going to be, my mind just went blank. Karmic things, your contracts, and your destiny and your purpose. Those are going to be the main things that you want to find out about your soul, okay? So now that you're out of that human side, and you're operating off spirit, okay? And we're good on our astral charts. We've done all the work. Now we want to get deeper. You need somebody to take you there. For me, it was Reiki. I told my father, he's a Reiki master. I told my father that I was ready to dive into my past. I told him what I found out so far. And I said, I need you to open me up because I need to be able to see these visions and I need to be able to make sense of it. He did this for me in the beginning of the year. Now, mind you, like I said, in 2024, I got the visions. She took me around Marie Laveau, and I could put some things together, but I needed more. I needed to understand more. I needed to go there because I kept feeling like a pull, like it was more than just hanging around Marie Laveau, right? So I said, Daddy, do your thing. Open me up. I got to see it. Let me see it all. So he opened me up. He did my past, my present, and my future. A couple of weeks go by. Because, you know, after you get Reiki, when you get certain things, then you have to kind of wait for your body to like recalibrate, for things to like come back into play. Couple of weeks go by. I'm in New Orleans and I'm in the area that they call Storyville. And how did I find this up? By the visions that I was seeing. I was able to, that's another thing, with the visions that I was seeing, I was able to find these places on the internet and get information, okay? So long story short, I'm in Storyville. I'm in the brothels. I'm there and they're hugging me. They're literally hugging me like they've been waiting on me, right? It was women. I seen that I had a child. I seen that my husband was there with me in my past life, and I seen my daddy. The reason why I saw my daddy is because he's the one who opened me up. So he's like, he's coming with me, right? Because he's my guide. He's my guide. We're there hugging and everything, telling me that they're happy to see me, all this good stuff. And I give them one last goodbye. I could tell I was telling them goodbye for the last time, right? It was so touching. So when I came back, I started researching everything, and that's how I found out about Storyville. All right. So I did that, and I kind of took a break from it, right? So when you look into your past life, it doesn't all come in once. When you get somebody to open you up, because like I said, I've been experimenting and doing the research. I start learning things. I started seeing more things about the soul, and I started having more visions about my destiny. And then when I go to my natal chart, I could find where it aligned in my natal chart. And I'm like, okay, I always like astrology, but I never thought about it as like it being like a cheat sheet and it confirming things for you, right? So that's what got me interested in starting looking into my natal chart. So some time goes by. I'm doing my thing, happy that I found out some things. And I say back in June, I'm like, oh my God, I need another Reiki session. I'm like, tell my dad, I said, Daddy, I need another session. So I get in my Reiki sessions and I write down my intentions. And we weren't talking nothing about the past life. It was just some other things that I needed. So we do that. And so that was back in June. So again, I'm going through, I've gotten rebalanced, recalibrated. I'm doing my thing. And it wasn't until the end of August that I started getting this pull to find out more things about myself, but related to my natal chart, okay? So I started doing more research on my natal chart and started to see where my house is in my natal chart, what does it mean to me? Not only just looking at the natal chart, but really researching the keywords, because I didn't know nothing about it, y'all, really researching, right? So as I'm doing this research, I have a dream about my dad and he comes to see me, but we're in the past of this past life, okay? And I'm like, I said, maybe it's time for me to get another session, because usually when I see my daddy in my dreams, I'm like, I probably need something. Long story short, he was coming back to guide me. Now, mind you, I did my past life in the beginning of the year. It comes back around after I start researching my natal chart. It comes back around and I'm back in Storyville. But this time, I'm seeing images from my past in this life. Okay? So I know I'm in Storyville, but I'm seeing images from my past in this life. So that really blew my mind, because this is why it's important that you know about your astral travel. I said, what do I need to remember? And that's what it took me to. So y'all know I'm pondering and I'm pondering over this. Again, I go back. I said, show me exactly what did I do in Storyville? Because I didn't know if I was, a prostitute or what. I said, what did I do in Storyville? It took me back. But it also showed me my past in this life. So I'm like, wait a damn minute. What does my past in this life have to do with what I'm asking in Storyville, right? That really blew my mind, right, y'all? So, come to find out, after thinking and putting things together, I finally figured it out. When I asked what I need to remember, it showed me visions of my past life and this life so it could resonate with me back in Storyville. So what does that mean? We repeat cycles. So what I needed to remember was around the time that I was 17, 18 years old. That's where it took me back to, not before then, because I said, what is important that I need to remember then? Okay. So that let me know I was doing something, but it was the same, but it was kind of different. Let me give you an example. So I wanted to know, like, what did I do in Storyville? So in high school, I worked for a grocery store, but I was a bookkeeper. And I used to always want to be an accountant. If I wasn't doing this, I said I wanted to be an accountant, right? I love numbers. Numbers is like my biggest gift that I have. So when it showed me that, what I realized is I kept the books. I dealt with the money. Because also in Storyville, they had a lot of jazz players, they had a lot of saloons, and they had a lot of gambling, right? And I was like looking at people who were going to like perform and all that kind of stuff like that, looking at their resumes. So what it was doing was it was allowing me to put two and two together. So basically the reason why I was into accounting and I did bookkeeping is because I did the books in Storyville. So I'm repeating. Okay. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Also, I told y'all in one of my videos, I had this strong pull to Charity Hospital. The first time I went to New Orleans, and every time I go back, I cannot keep my eyes off that building. I'm like, why is this building so important to me? Like, what is it about it? I kept reaching out to people in the area, like, can y'all give me something? I'm coming up with nothing. It's not that much on it. Every time I channel it, it wasn't really giving me nothing, right? One night I said, Charity Hospital, show me why. Show me why. What do I need to remember about you? Y'all, it took me to the exact place that I was in Storyville. I was at Mahogany Hall, and I was doing some conjuring in there. And I mean, the Mahogany Hall, it was so immaculate, right? It was like, and I love that style that the house was in. So it explains why I like that stuff now. And as I'm doing it, walking around, doing my thing, in comes Charity Hospital. And how I recognized it was, again, it brought me back to my present past. I worked around that age that I was in Storyville. I worked with somebody named Charity that I also worked with at the store where I was a bookkeeper. So you see how I was pulling it all together for me? So that's when I knew then, oh, I worked with Charity Hospital. We had a relationship. Now, here's the thing. I go to do my research. Come to find out, all the streets because I was able to see the streets in my channeling too. Charity Hospital was like right there beside Mahogany Hall. And they said that Charity Hospital stayed in Storyville, literally over in Storyville, because they were trying to make sure people didn't have the diseases. If nobody knows, Storyville was a place in New Orleans where it was a red light district where they legalized prostitution. Okay, so everything there was illegal. Other places was legal there. So Charity Hospital was like one step away from Mahogany Hall. And I'm like, oh my God, like now I've unlocked it. Right? So now that I've unlocked that, I understood the things that I was doing. Okay. So within me doing that, it led me to like trying to figure out my soul contracts, karma, things that I need to be like doing, my destiny. So this brings me to the natal chart again. So after I was figuring those things out, I started going through my natal chart and looking, and you have these things in your natal chart called houses. And the houses hold every aspect of your life and what you should do, right? So going into my past, I started asking questions. So I started going to these things and these houses and researching them and seeing how it pertains to me. And so the more things that I found out about my past life, it was making like more sense of why it pertains to me. And then it brings me to, and another thing you got to understand, when you do this, it guides you. Your soul guides you to the right thing, right? When it's unlocked. And doing all this, it brings me to something in my natal chart called the South Node and the North Node, right? So I'm studying my South Node, and it's saying, and what I find out about the South Node is basically tells you in your chart who you're used to being, what you're used to doing, what you have down packed, where you feel comfortable, your comfort zone, right? In other words, is what, remember I said, it's only as good as your last life. It's what you were good at in your past life. Everything on there resonated with me, right? But here's the thing. You got to come out of that now. And the way to come out of that, you got to do your North Node. Okay? So the South Node is what was in your past life. The North Node is what's going to be the game changer here for your soul in the present life, to where you can fulfill everything that you need in the present life. Y'all, by studying my natal chart and looking at what my North Node said, and by what I seen in my past life, I unlocked it. And it's so crazy when you unlock it, it's the simplest things. And when I unlocked it, it was telling me, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. And everything that it's telling me, like literally, I ain't gonna say I shied away from it, but I was made to feel like, you shouldn't like be like that. Like, that's too much, right? But it was literally in my personality. So what is that telling me? Like, you got to learn how to bring it's in you, but you got to learn to bring it out to where it serves you, not hinder you. So the things that it was telling me to do, the reason why I was like, I shouldn't be that way, because I was using it in a way that it was like hindering me. Okay. And basically like not using it to my advantage. Like, for instance, like, I'm a hothead. I have a bad temper. I was made that way, but I got to use it in a certain way, right? Not the way that I've been using it, which was the way I did it in my past, which is not working for me, or would not work for me here. Okay. You see where I'm going with this? This comes down to your health, your relationships, your own death. When you get to that North Node, it gives you all the solutions of what needs to be done to change that trajectory. Okay. So let's talk about your death. Okay. The manner in which you would die is held in your 8th house. You're either going to have a planet that rules that house, or a zodiac sign that rules the house. You can have a planet and a zodiac sign, or you could just have a zodiac sign that rules that house. So anybody who does not have any planets in their house, it does not mean that it is not important to you. It just means that a planet was not like in transit when you were born. But what rules the house will be the zodiac sign instead of a planet, okay? So don't think that there's nothing there for you. It's just that you don't have a planet. It's just going to be the zodiac sign rules the planet. So you may have a planet and a zodiac sign that rules the 8th house, or just a zodiac sign that rules the 8th house, okay? So when I researched my death, when I looked at my death, right? And Google's your best friend when it comes to learning your natal chart, okay? You're going to like do your research on it. It said what I was prone to die from and everything like that. So, but when I looked at my North Node, it gave me the steps of what I need to be mastering right now. And when I mastered that, it coincided, what is it that I need to master? It coincided with what my 8th house said. So when you research, it's going to tell you like the positive side of it, right? So when I looked at my North Node, it coincided with what it was saying, that the positive side of my 8th house when it comes to my death, what I need to do. And that resonated with me, because the things that I was doing in my South Node, it was causing like the things that it would say in my 8th house that I could like possibly like die from, like literally. And just to like give y'all an example, like my health depends on my happiness. Okay. It literally tells me that like I have to be happy in order for my health to be good. Okay. That's that simple, right? So I can't let anything stand in my happiness. Also, it also said that what I'm doing right now, I have to do it. if I don't do my work in spirituality and helping the collective, that affects my health. So in my South Node, it said that I was very good at it being a humanitarian and like doing things for the collective. But what I shied away from is giving them what they needed, like what I know they needed versus what they wanted. So for instance, like y'all have asked me to do all these things and stuff like that. But for me to be aligned, I got to give you what you need, the things that you don't want to hear, the things that you didn't think you need to know. That's where I lacked. I did what, like, I did what you wanted me to do, not what you needed to know. Okay. So, cause a lot of the things that I talk about, people would consider that taboo. So, when I realized that, it's like, if I don't be aligned, I'm not healthy. That's literally what it said. I have to be aligned to be healthy. And that's even working with you guys, giving you the information that you need to have. So basically, like, I have my own cheat code now, but the reason why it's a cheat code and it worked, not the reason why it's a cheat code, but the reason why it worked for me is because I was able to unravel my past life. And so therefore, the reason that since I was unable to unravel my past life and it coincided with what was going on in my past life, that I'm here now, and I know the things that I didn't do right during those time frames where I need to make a change at. So that's what it does. So basically what I'm trying to say is that your past life will show you your mistakes in your present life, because it's going to give you something that resonates with you around the time that you need to be focusing on so you can make a difference, so this life can be beneficial to you. Okay? So I know this was a lot. So if anybody has like any specific questions, something that I did not cover in this, please put it in the comments and I will either reply back to your comment, or if it's something that a lot of people are asking together, I will do a video. Okay. So I am willing to help people with this. I will be putting this on my website this week for people to book it. I'm going to help people understand their South Node and their North Node, and also understand, I already have on my website the natal reading for your death, and help you to understand how you can change that trajectory. Even with people, I've worked with people that says that they're supposed to have like a long, they die of a natural cause and have a long life in old age. But remember, that's like your past life. But you're still it's supposed to be a way, how can I put it? If you don't do things the way that you should, it may not be that way. You understand what I'm saying? So just because you have a natural cause in long life don't mean that you're going to be happy. You understand what I'm saying? It can mean that you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. It can mean that, you know how some people, like, they hang on forever and ever. Everybody's gone in the family. They're the last ones. Not saying that we're trying to rush somebody from like being here, but they literally watch everyone die. Things of that nature. You get what I'm saying? So, we want to have, the whole purpose is to have a prosperous life, a happy life, for us to accomplish our goals, our destiny, and to be aligned in this life. Why do you want to be aligned here? Because that's what's going to help you in the afterlife. So it's important to unlock the soul, because again, in the afterlife, the soul holds you accountable. Okay. And when I tell y'all, I'm not playing, I'm very serious on this. When I do my afterlife communication and I have people who are dealing with their soul holding them accountable, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. They have people that have passed on who try to come get them. I've seen parents try to come get children. People that they won't go because their soul is holding them accountable. And the soul is you. It's not like it's this other like thing. But that's just how the soul works, okay? You work to hold yourself accountable. And who knows how long that's going to be, okay? So, yes, we have to unlock that past so we can get everything that we need to know about it. So a lot of people ask about, what are my contracts? I was able to find out a contract that I had with my daughter. And here's the crazy thing about it, y'all. The contract that I have with my daughter, I literally thought it was between me and my husband. I kid you not. It was not until I started diving deep in this that it had nothing to do with him. And this whole time, because it was an issue that's been going on this whole time, I thought it was me and him. Not at all. Not at all. And guess what? My daughter, when I went back and looked into it, she was there. She showed up. She had the same experience without me knowing that I was looking into this. I didn't call on her. I just said, what do I need to remember about my soul contract? And it was one day, something just kept pulling on me real bad to ask her about her being emotional about something. Like I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I pulled her to the side and I asked her the question and I told her why. She said, for real? She said, yeah. She said, I remember. She said, the other day we was in the car together in a dream. I said, yeah. She said, yeah, mama. She said, I was fussing at you and I couldn't understand why, because we're not upset with each other. She said, I didn't know why I was fussing with you. So she was there and she experienced it by me going into it. And this whole time, I didn't know it's between me and her. I didn't know it. I didn't know it at all. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's sometimes there can be like so much confusion and we misplace like the things that we're supposed to be doing with other people. We got it wrong. By doing this, it shows you the right thing. It also unlocks emotional trauma. It also unlocks things that you're holding onto that you had no idea. I mean, I'm talking about when I say you forgot about it. It shows you that. And you're like, what? Are you serious right now? I'm telling you, you think you know what's going on with you and you think you got the answers. You don't. You don't. Like, not until you unlock that past life. And then everything starts to make sense, y'all. It starts to make sense. And then you can flow in this life. Okay? So if y'all are ready to dive into this and you need help with being open up, I suggest you get the Reiki session. My father, he is a Reiki master. And he does in person and he can do this remotely as well. Okay. Because that's going to have to happen. Somebody is going to have to open you up. That's just, you need somebody trained to open you up. Okay. I do the channeling, but to open you up, I do suggest that you do the Reiki because it's a different type of energy. My channeling is more so like I can see your past, but you don't see it. I see it. The Reiki allows the energy to work to where you can see it. Okay, so that's the difference. So that's why in this one right here, I do recommend getting the Reiki to open you up, okay? And this is a long process. Like I said, my dad did this in the beginning, and I'm circling back around to it now. But the thing about it is that when you get opened up, it leads you in the way that you're supposed to go. See, like I said, me and my dad, we were experimenting, right? We literally were experimenting with this. So this is why I know this. What happens is when you're opened up, it leads you in the direction. You're already being guided, okay? And so it's going to take you through the steps that you need to go to get the information that you're looking for. So that's another thing. You're not going to be lost. Everything is going to work accordingly. That's how it's set up, okay? So for me, it came back around almost like 8 months later, all right? You will need to be familiar with your natal chart. So if you need the Reiki, reach out to me. I can refer you to my dad to open you up. Then I can assist you with your natal chart and I would read you intuitively to tell you how this goes, because you do have to be intuitive to like put the pieces together. So if you need help with that, you can book like a reading with your natal chart, and we can put those pieces together with your past life to see how it like resonates with each other. Okay. So I hope this video was as informative for you as I like for it to be. Again, this was a lot of information. So if it's something that I did not cover, that's like, like mind-boggling to you and you really need to know the answer to it, please put it in the comments, because I don't want to miss anything with this, because this is very important, because we're talking about being able to focus on our life here and make sure that we're doing everything to the fullest so we can enjoy it here and come out of the matrix. And another thing, like I said, when you do this, you're free because you have your cheat code. You know what to do. You're literally like free. I'm not even playing about that. Okay. And that's the goal. All right. All right. So I enjoyed this, and I'll be back again with another video this week. I want to talk about what's pressing on me to talk about this week is why you don't need to go to the light. What is it about the light that you need to stay away from? Because I've been seeing like a lot of people like talking about that lately. So I want to go deep into that and explain to you guys what that is. Okay. So until next time, I'll see you guys on the astral. Bye.